The Atlanta Falcons are on the clock in the 2025 NFL Draft with their first pick, picking at 15 overall. And what they end up doing might surprise you in our mock draft. My name is Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're breaking down the Atlanta Falcons' first 3-round mock draft of the 2025 NFL Draft. But before we get into that, if you like the content that we put out and you want to help the Tracy Take channel grow, easiest way is hitting that subscribe button, tackling that bell to get notified when new videos come out. And while you're at it, leave a like and a comment. Let us know what you think of these picks and what you want to see the Falcons do. And Ryan, with that being said, Falcons picking to pick 15, and they are actually trading back in this mock draft here. I think this is a very realistic possibility for the Atlanta Falcons. They only have 4 picks as of right now. I don't believe they have any compensatory picks coming their way. So that's why I say 4 as of right now. But they end up trading with Denver. Denver gets pick 15 and then a 2026 6th-round pick. They end up actually taking Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty fell in our mock draft here, and I think that would be good value. I think for Denver, and I think teams would want to trade up if that scenario actually happened. Atlanta receives the 20th pick, the 85th pick, which is Denver's 3rd-round pick, and then a 4th-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. Points-wise, this about evened out, so I'm curious to hear what Falcons fans think of this trade. So trading back to 20, Falcons end up getting Mike Green, edge rusher out of Marshall. He had a great Senior Bowl day. It's actually honestly very possible that the Falcons would maybe just take him at 15 because he might not make it to 20. The reason why I say that as well, too, is because you look at the teams here, Cardinals, Bengals, Seahawks, and Buccaneers are all looking for defensive line help. But they all went different routes in our mock draft. Ironically, right after I say that, I realize. But Mike Green, though, I think he's going to fit the type of mold that Raheem Morris is going to be looking for in an edge rusher. Definitely has the build of like that outside linebacker nowadays.
Yeah.
And with how they're beefing up on the defensive tackle side, getting very athletic defensive tackles with like Grady Jarrett, Rook, even Brandon Dorless as well. I think they're going to go there in a much more 3-4 setting. And I think he would be a great complement to go across from Arnold Ebiketie as well. I think he fits our system more and is more explosive. And even too, just the one film of him bull rushing Josh Connerly at the Senior Bowl, I think just made him so much money in that one moment as his draft stock kept on rising. There's a couple other different edge rushers that we could talk about, but I just felt that he's going to fit the mold more to what the Falcons are looking for. But want to throw it over to you. What are your thoughts on Mike Green and him going here to Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys can get Mike Green here, trade back and get Mike Green as well, kind of adding in a little extra sweetness there. But I think that would be a fantastic fit. He's clearly shown that he's a top edge rusher in this class. He was the most productive edge rusher this past season in college with 17.5 sacks. And so I just think all in all, this is a really, really solid fit. I think this would solve a lot of your pass rush issues. And then frankly, you get him on a cheaper contract than what you would get re-signing a Matthew Judon or re-signing somebody.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Of that nature. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say cheaper than picking him at 15. I was like, yeah, I mean, we'd maybe save $1.
No. That's you're splitting pennies. I say pennies, it'd probably be a $300,000 difference in his average annual contract value. But
I think that's a good point though to Matt Judon, because right now the Falcons are above the cap. So the projected cap. So we need to see where they end up at, and a lot of ways that we can maneuver that to get below the cap and free up some space that a lot of people talk about, and we'll talk about it on our next free agency series that we have coming out in about a week or so. But
the one thing at this point, so Ashton Jeanty fell, so you have a player there that's of higher value that teams will trade up for. The one thing I will say, I think the Falcons are inevitably going to have a tough time trading back if one of those players doesn't fall, because I think they're on the fringe of to me, a range of players. So being at 15 puts them in an awkward spot. In this mock draft, it did work out for them that Ashton Jeanty fell. And so I think that's why that trade was able to happen. So I'm really curious to kind of hear or to see a situation where the Falcons aren't able to trade back, and if they would just go with Mike Green anyways.
Yeah, that's a good point. And or actually even just as well, if they fall in love with Mike Green, you know, it's just not even,
and don't want to trade back. Yeah,
and just take it there. Which, that being said, I get it. It's kind of more just would hope that he is the guy, just because everybody knows the amazing success the Atlanta Falcons have had with drafting edge rushers in the first round. And so, but it would just be the concern though is like we have put ourselves in the situation where we are in a very poor cap situation. Now we have no draft picks, or like just 4 draft picks throughout the entire um, draft as of right now, which would make all of our mock draft content material very quick and easy for the Falcons. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
maybe this time. But yeah, I think it's a fair point. And so, but they in this situation though, they do trade back. I could see Denver want to make that trade. And so now with their second pick, they do have this is their original pick here. They end up taking Nick Emmanwori, safety out of South Carolina, borderline linebacker, but I think this would be a great fit for Atlanta overall. Very possible even to see how he does at the combine as well, but potentially could be a first round talent just in general, but very physical guy. And I think he would be a great compliment to Jesse Bates and AJ Terrell, and even also to the style of play that this defense, that Raheem Morris wants to run this defense as well. When we saw success with this defense getting pass rush pressure, it was a lot more aggressiveness with Caden Ellis. It did open up some things, I will say, like in the secondary, made them a little bit more vulnerable, but we got a lot more pressure. And we're able to get the quarterback a lot quicker. Actually, and at the same time, also would take pressure off the secondary because they were getting sacks and putting the offense behind the chains. So you get a guy like Nick Emmanwori, a strong safety that can come in and really help out in the box, can really move him around a lot. I think that this would be a great addition to this Atlanta Falcons team.
Yeah, really athletic guy, especially too for that size. I was joking like right before we started this video, is like he's like one extra taco away from just being a linebacker in and of itself. So very comfortable playing at and around the line of scrimmage. I would love to see like what Raheem Morris could do with a guy with his physical traits. I do think of him similar to like a Kyle Duggar, but maybe a little bit bigger, where he can kind of play wherever, kind of play see ball, get ball, come downhill, be a heat seeking missile in that aspect of things. But I could also see them maybe going, if they don't get an edge rusher at the top of the draft, getting a really athletic guy like Shamar Stewart or another outside linebacker style edge rusher in Kyle Kennard. I think that would be interesting in and of itself. And then Omar Norman Lott, I think, would be another good fit there, just to kind of continue to add depth to that defensive line.
Yeah, Omar Norman Lott, he's almost like a defensive tackle pass rush specialist. If you go look at his numbers, I think
Mhm.
like 2/3 of his snaps were on passing plays specifically. And so he's on the lighter side, but he's super quick. And so that would kind of absolutely fit well to what Atlanta's trying to do if they're trying to bolster up their pass rush. So a lot of different ways I think the Falcons could go. So now let's quickly address their third round pick here. Their additional one. This is the Denver pick here, but they end up going Jared Wilson, center out of Georgia. As of right now, he's the top ranked center in this
Mhm.
draft. And if you go look at the free agents for Atlanta, Drew Dahlman is a free agent. Ryan Neasel is also a free agent as well. Drew Dahlman's probably actually going to be one of the more sought after centers in this offseason. I think he's been solid, but not super not phenomenal for the Falcons, but he's been very serviceable. But I think he's going to be able to go and get paid for this offseason. And the Falcons, do they have the draft capital? Sorry, the capital in general, the cap space to go after him, or do they want to go and draft a guy here again? Draft Jared Wilson, who had a solid year at Georgia, the center for all their snaps here. No sacks, just a couple of hurries, and has a good pass block rate and run block rate against SEC competition, against a lot of the guys that we're going to be talking about here in this year's draft. So I think it's going to be very interesting which route that they end up going here. But this pick, if this trade does happen, I do think this is going to be the pick where they focus on offense, whether it be on the center position or if they end up going with the receiver position as well and getting some more weapons for Michael Penix to throw to. I think Xavier Restrepo is a guy that sticks out to me on guys that were still available. Isaiah Bond. Actually, I don't think Isaiah Bond would be a really good fit overall because I'm
Him and Darnell Mooney might have some
they.
overlap.
I also think Isaiah Bond is kind of an overrated receiver just in general. There's a reason why he's been falling down draft boards a lot,
Yeah.
and so. But another sneaky guy, I will say, just want to shout out. As you can even see my shirt right here. If we want to address the defensive line again, get C.J. West, defensive tackle out of Indiana. I am a Falcons fan and an Indiana Hoosier fan, so I'm normally just allergic to good football. And so, but this year was a lot of fun to actually watch Indiana somehow make the college football playoffs. And CJ West is one of the main reasons why they were able to do that as well. And dude's just an absolute stud, great run defender as well. And I think he would be a great complement in the middle. If this is a route that they would end up, if they'd want to go double dip again on the defensive line, like how they did last year. So just throwing that out there, CJ West, and he also had a great Shrine Bowl as well. Kept seeing a lot of great highlights from him also.
Yeah, and he would definitely be more of a run stuffing defensive tackle. But with that being said, he almost like single handedly shut down the Ohio State running game, and that was really impressive to watch. So, all in all, though, for the Falcons, I think you guys are trying to get more solid in the trenches, whether that's with a pass rush, with investing in that offensive line depth right now, because you still have some older guys that are holding spots like Jake Matthews, and I guess on that right side, you guys are pretty good there with Chris Lindstrom and who's the right tackle?
Caleb McGarry.
Caleb.
Yeah. So Caleb McGarry, I think, needs to be improved on, but he's serviceable as right now. The one thing that's going
Yeah,
to be really interesting though to watch is now Michael Penix is our starting QB. He's left-handed, so now Caleb McGarry is
is the
thrusted
blind
into
side guy.
is a blindside block. So that's going to be very fascinating to watch. Caleb McGarry's has been fine, but definitely not great.
Yeah.
It could be something that I could maybe see him moving on from after this season or maybe after next season. So, but
Mhm.
that's a much longer conversation, and so we're just trying to figure out how we can improve now.
Yeah. And so I think with you guys, you're going to be taking best player available that fills a need, I guess. So you'll stack the board that way, most likely for the Falcons. But let's go ahead. Let's wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on what you thought of this 3-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently for the Atlanta Falcons? And other than that, we will see you guys next time.